my word.
I mean, technically they throw rock. Sion remaining a consistent ban. Now I had the opportunity to talk to Krepo, of course, very high ELO player. Does get to see Mikyx and solo queue a decent amount. Says that the Sion is kind of one of those cheese picks that he likes to bring out, and apparently it can be pretty terrifying. So Unicorns of Love, this looks like the target ban there. And Taliyah taken off the table again. We can only assume that Sencux has been doing some work in scrims on this bad boy.
Makes me sad. Was really excited to see some Taliyah, but she's not going to be available once more. She's so good at kiting, like so good. And really enjoy watching her play. A very good Taliyah can make so many plays across the map. But unfortunately, she is gone alongside the Swain. It's going to be taken away from Sencux. Now, he has brought this out in the past, and he's never actually won with it. So I guess Splyce still finding ways to make it work, but Unicorns of Love, they're just saying, no, we don't want any of that.
Well, keep in mind, of course, last time they did ban away the Vladimir themselves. So they had that ban freed up now. Bard also taken off the table this time around. Hylissang not going to get the opportunity. Unicorns of Love shifting their priority now, putting Move as that first pick.
So Trundle, Olaf, Aurelia, all the bans from game one that Splyce threw out are not gone this game, which means that I'm expecting to see Vizicsacsi go for that Aurelia once more. He's had such dominant performances, and it fits into his playstyle so well.
Absolutely. Of course, going to be interesting to see what Wunder picks up as well. As you said, Shen, really the only top laner, maybe Vladimir if you're getting creative, taken out of the pool, but there's so much left open. Aurelia, maybe a priority pick, but Trundle as well. Gnar, of course, still available. Top lane pool, much more open. Mid lane pool, it feels a lot more shut off this time around. And Splyce going to make an effort to early pick up this azir, as well as the nidalee once again coming in for Trashy after kind of a rough game one.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Trashy has decided to go back to this nidalee once more is a little bit of a surprise for me, simply because if you look at his nidalee plays from the past, he has only played it 2 games, now 3 games after that, and he's got a record of 1 and 2. He has typically had the best performances on his Gragas and his rek'sai, and I feel like if he's going to play like he did very much in the last game, rather than trying to exceed unbelievable pressure and just play more of a farm style, then Gragas would fit more of the mold as to what Splyce is going for. It would help set up for plays, look for picks, and it would deal relatively well with the rek'sai as well. So it does surprise me that Splyce is putting so much emphasis on this early game jungle.
Absolutely. Of course, Karma now the hover over as well, while Unicorns of Love have made their second rotation here. Jhin still remaining the priority for Veritas. No surprises there, I'd say. A fantastic performance coming in from him, as well as the Trundle now. We have to assume that that is going up into the top lane for Chachi. Do you think there's any room for a Trundle support here?
There's no need to. I mean, the fact is, he offers so much in the top half of the map. The split push presence that he has is unbelievable. He has very few bad matchups, because even in the matchups that he is bad at, when it comes to the mid and late game, that subjugate is just too ridiculous. It is such a powerful ultimate that it can render the vast majority of top laners unbelievably weak. So it is no surprise. Typically you would see it prioritized above the rek'sai, but Unicorns of Love have said, we want to deny it from Trashy, we want to pick it up for ourselves, and it's worked for us before. Why bother changing anything?
And while Unicorns of Love really think about their last rotation here, Splyce making theirs second rotation, do opt for the Karma here. Not going to see it in the mid lane this time around. Of course, looks like it will be the support, as well as the Caitlyn coming in for Kobbe, saving that last pick for Wunder in the top lane, where he's going to have to go toe-to-toe with Chachi's Trundle, and instantly locking in the Gnar here. This is a matchup we've seen go very well for the Gnar, especially if they're able to get that early Rift Herald.
Certainly can. So Splyce definitely going to be looking for standard lanes in this game, because they do have really good long-range poke. I'm not a fan of the Azir into Caitlyn combo, because we heard from Reckless a couple weeks back that typically you want to be putting the Caitlyn in the mid lane and you want to move your mid laner to a side lane and set up this kind of 1-3-1. And you can't really do that with an Azir, so you end up with both of them in the mid lane trying to compete for the farm. And Caitlyn, while she does have a long range, she's not actually that good at poking. She is very good at taking towers, which synergizes in that respect quite nicely with the Azir. But it's still, it makes a little bit more sense, this composition from Splyce. It is very much about poke and more towards the mid and late game. But Unicorns of Love, they have themselves the Jhin, they have themselves the LeBlanc. This is all about early to mid game. They're all about getting that very early advantage that they got in game one, and they're going to try and run away with it once more.
Exileh returning to that LeBlanc that we've seen him have so much success on in the past. I'm gonna have to wonder if he can put up a similar level of performance, because we've seen him demolish games when he's been given a lead in the early game. This time around, though, I mean, if Trashy can pick it up, if he can use this nidalee to the fullest effect, maybe they're going to switch that around on us, because we've seen the early games be absolutely everything at least on the side of the Unicorns of Love. And Splyce feel like they have a lot of tools coming into this late game.
Yeah, they certainly do. I am quite excited to see how Splyce can change things up coming into game 2, because we talked about it earlier on and how impactful this could be for the standings. And Splyce, they definitely do not want to drop this game 2.
Absolutely cannot afford to. Tying up with the Unicorns of Love after the first day here puts so much pressure on their matches tomorrow. But here we are. The crowd is ready. Are Unicorns of Love ready as they move to take the 2-0 over Splyce? I don't think it's going to be an easy battle for them. Oh, that's interesting. That's an esports classic right there.
That certainly is an esports classic. And there are the Unicorns.
I like it.
Hearing.
I like it. Looks like it might be the standard lane setup. I mean, a lot of time to swap around here on both sides, but Wunder showing us the best dance moves on the top side. Trashy. Ooh, not quite. Audience was ready. They wanted the cheer.
It's still very early on. If we're just looking at the standards, 2 versus 2 and 1 versus 1, Unicorns want to try and avoid this. Usually, sustain is quite good into poke in terms of the supports, but Jhin's going to have a really rough time against the Caitlyn. The vast majority of AD carries have a rough time against
that
Caitlyn.
range is a little impressive.
So it wouldn't surprise me if Unicorns of Love do try to avoid the standard matchup. But maybe they're trying to go for this crazy, we're going to return to the bottom lane because they think we're going to swap. And so, you know, next level mind games going on right now.
How many levels deep are we going to go? Yeah, who is inceptioning who?
Looks like Splyce have just said, no, we're happy in the bottom.
Yeah, we're good.
And now Unicorns, they're going to have to walk into these standard matchups. And we'll have to see how Unicorns do now that they will have a rough matchup in the top, a rough matchup in the bottom, and a mid lane that usually against an Azir early on, you can get poked at pretty hard by that Azir.
We're gonna have to see exactly how this unfolds, because I feel like LeBlanc, once she gets a few levels, is such a terror to deal with.
I mean, that level 6 spike is pretty big for a LeBlanc.
Yeah. Mimicking those abilities, the terrifying double distortion, and MIkyx really looking to take control of this lane. That's aggressive. Good heal comes in from Hylissang though. Ebb and flow, so powerful in the level 1, but MIkyx, no fear throwing out the poke. Hylissang down to half health.
So if you weren't aware that this was a rough matchup, now you can see why.
I mean,
Hobby
and MIkyx. I mean, and we were very critical of Hylissang and Veritas in the earlier weeks when they started to struggle, as we see mid lane get aggressive as well. Exile.
That was a really bad trade from Exile. The thing you have to be very mindful of the fact with an Azir is if his soldier is already up and you use your QW combo on the LeBlanc, then every time you dash back to your distortion, he's just going to get so much free soldier damage down. And as you try to walk away, he can then use the soldiers to chase on your escape. And that's why you have to be very mindful. The best time to attack on that LeBlanc is the moment that the sand soldiers drop, because there's a very small window where that Azir will not be able to trade back with you. So Exile being a little bit too over-aggressive early on into this lane.
Not going to cost him too much, though. Of course, does have the TP overall. MIkyx continuing to play on the front lines, using that Soul Flare to dish out as much damage as possible. With the trades, you said that sustained. Veritas staying healthy. Hylissang may be suffering, but the AD carry on the side of Unicorn staying even thus far. A lot more aggression in the early lanes coming out from both of these squads. And now this is the man we got to keep our eyes on, though. Trashy definitely has the potential to make plays here in the early game, and Move still seems to be pretty content to just farm this out.
It's exactly the same matchup as game 1. Wunder needs to be mindful of the fact Move is in the top half of the map.
Just going to hop his way out of that one.
It's the mini Gnar form, man. It is that small window that you can look to take advantage of and Move. He's trying to take advantage of the fact that Wunder a little bit overextended in the top.
Just going to back out here. They're not going to have sight of him backing out, so there will be that invisible pressure until they see rek'sai on the map again. Ping's coming out as Trashy. Not sure if rek'sai's in his jungle, has to move in to take something here. Sencux continuing to push out as LeBlanc going to make her way back into the mid lane. Double Dorans and some boots, a little more mobility. Make those trades a bit easier, but overall, no real advantage on either side. The 200 gold lead, not quite relevant yet.
A mid laner I really like teleport on. Assassin, so good at running TP. Easily sets up for the 1-3-1 for Unicorns of Love right now. And this is a strategy that is held tried and true for this lineup. Something that initially we as a caster team felt like was the only thing Unicorns of Love could really bring out. But after their performance in game 1, definitely show that they have a couple more tricks up their sleeve right now.
Absolutely. LeBlanc appears to be one of them. Sencux finally coming out on the back end of one of those trades. Exileh coming big there once he hits that level 5 mark now. And Trashy starting to invade, starting to take a little bit more jungle this time around, but Move continuing to just go for the early Sightstone and maybe looking to make a play bottom. Caitlyn and Karma completely unaware. There's no jungle there for him to take. I'm wondering, I don't know if he wants to go in here.
He has to be very mindful of the fact that Hylissang is very low. So if they try to force a fight, then Splyce could just suddenly turn around and commit onto Hylissang, who, not being level 6, would actually find it quite difficult to try and force an engage. But the bottom lane of Splyce is so overextended. I feel like this is too juicy of an opportunity to miss.
Watch for that tunnel. Where's it gonna come? Here comes the jungler. Move on his way in. Is he gonna go for it? Mikyx knocked up. Is he gonna get locked down? Jhin has the snare. Will he go for it? Flash out of the bubble. Sidestep. Whoa! Fancy footwork from Mikyx. Makes it out safely. Splyce not giving anything up in this early game.
Really smart play from Mikyx. He knew exactly the order in which Unicorns were going to use their abilities. He did not preemptively flash the knockup from Move because he knew he had to flash the bubble. Then he waited patiently for the root to come out from Veritas. He sidestepped it, and he knew he had the heal from Kobbe as well. Just fantastic execution from Mikyx to get out of that game.
Absolutely. Wunder and Trashy continuing to trade on the top side of the map in the meantime, and things going pretty well for Splyce overall. We can see small CS lead in the jungle as well as in the bottom lane, making up for the difference in gold here thus far. Jungle lead starting to grow as well. 10 in the jungle, pretty decent gold difference. Splyce maybe just looking to extend the laning phase, although Wunder as irritating as ever in that mini Gnar.
Yeah, it's a bit of a difficult one. As Move trying to set up a bit of a cheeky gank, and wow,
Sencux wants to go in, Exileh wants to get out, but Mikyx's here in the mid lane. First blood! Mikyx roaming out of nowhere to make that happen, and Trashy wants to keep this rolling. He's going in, maybe looking for the spear. Chachi backing off, doesn't want to stick around for this fight. He's too low. Spear not going to land. Trashy moving in, flash in, gets the execute. Splyce, they're not going down without a fight.
So this time, Splyce are the aggressors, and it ends up paying off for them as they pick themselves up 2 very early kills, and this is the Splyce that we wanted to be seeing in game 1. And they just seem to be revitalized, getting pressure across.
And that right there you just witnessed was Wunder's family. You can see the kiss, the happiness that they have now that Wunder and his team are winning. It's where you want to be. You want to come here to see your kid destroy some people. you don't want to come here and watch him get beat.
Oh man, and Wunder, he might be.
Ask and you shall receive. Wunder set to destroy Chachi in this top lane matchup.
Whoa!
Oh, no way! Trashy going in. He wants to close this out, but what an outplay, using the subjugate so well.
Oh, Wunder, your parents were watching. This is your opportunity to make them proud. And unfortunately, you were not expecting the damage to come out from the trundle. But let's backtrack a little bit. Let's have a look at how Exileh ended up losing his life in the mid. Goes over-aggressive onto the Azir. Did not respect the fact that he can use that ultimate to knock you back into lane and get all this free damage off. And then Move. He just could not contest with Trashy. We wondered if Trashy could turn up the aggression for game 2, and he is doing just that, demonstrating why this nidalee has such more impact than the you have. And, oh my god, another kill!
You can't outrun a spear, my friend. 2 kills instantly picked up for Splyce. We did not see how this happened, and it doesn't even matter because Splyce are in control now, a 3K gold lead, and they're moving up. They're getting aggressive. A complete change from what we saw game 1. But the Jhin's looking to land these shots, looking to make this happen. Mikyx locked up. Can they get the kill? Ignite is down. Hylissang throwing out the empowered autos. They're going to grab it. Good take back there, coming in from the Unicorns of Love.
And Unicorns giving so many early advantages over to Splyce. And we discussed how they have much more of the early game team. They have the Jhin. They have the LeBlanc to be able to make these plays. But because Exileh somewhat reforming back into his old ways of just trying to be this solo queue powerhouse in the mid, ends up backfiring so heavily. And I'm looking forward to seeing this replay of how they ended up giving another 2 kills over to Splyce. It looked like that they were just sitting in the enemy jungle trying to steal away the blue, and it just ended up backfiring horribly.
And we got to take stock of what has happened here. Trashy is level 8, Move is level 5. That is a massive difference. 47 to 27 CS. We said that this set would be about the junglers, and they are making it happen this time around. But Kobbe, oh no, that is not what you want. Moving in, flash out to safety. MIkyx trying to get the disengage, ace in the hole, to make sure that there's no follow-up, but my God, Splyce now starting to overstep a little bit. They cannot afford to make mistakes.
But they do have a healthy goal lead right now, and to be honest, making those slight oversteps is very dangerous to Kobbe, given that he is on that Caitlyn, and while he does have the BF sword right now, he can't afford to be falling behind. Exileh gonna spot out MIkyx with that ward, so he is not gonna be in any real danger. But wow. Already crazy action. I mean, things were kicking off very early on in game 1, and now they're doing exactly the same, but on the other side here in game 2. And Splyce, they want to try and make this series a 1-1. And I mean, the fact that they've been able to burn both summoners right now for Kobbe could be an avenue for them to claw their way back into this game.
Absolutely. Have to be careful here. Move, of course, very far behind at this stage, but still providing a lot of vision for the team. And we're finally going to get to watch how this happens.
Why are you here? Why are you trying to invade the enemy blue buff?
Outrun it.
There is just no need to do this. You have no vision of Trashy. You know that the bottom half of the map belongs to Splyce, and there's no reason why their bottom lane isn't going to be able to collapse onto you. Big misplay, but tied away from that
wave coming in. MIkyx going to flash out. Now comes the curtain call. Is it going to mean the end for someone? 4-shot guaranteed to hit. Oh, going to get it, but Wunder's killed Trashy in the top lane. Action across the map. Unicorns of Love aren't going to get anything, and they're going to lose their top laner as Trashy and Wunder are set to take down this tower. So much action across the map. The 3K gold lead for Splyce not going to be there forever. Unicorns of Love slowly looking to tie this up.
I feel sorry for our observers right now because they're trying to keep up with all this action that is constantly happening all across the map. And Splyce, not only are they sitting on a 4,000 gold lead right now, but they are just using this overfed nidalee to its advantage. Level 10 Trashy leaps and bounds ahead of anyone in the game. And this is how you utilize an early game nidalee. You get that one kill, you turn it into a snowball, and you basically become unstoppable.
Move, he's trying to clear out the Scuttle Crab, but he's going to have to be careful. Nidalee moving around to look for the flank. Tremor Sense going to spot this out before anything happens. Spear barely going to miss. But the fight continues. MIkyx going in, the snare is coming out. Kobbe nets back, or forward rather, maybe looking to make that play happen, and Splyce waiting for the opportunity to go in. No reason to take the dragon at this point in the game. Just going to continue to extend those farm leads. Exileh taking a brief moment to farm up what he can in the mid lane. Chachi doing the same on the top side, maybe looking to break through this first tower.
I mean, this is a very difficult situation for Unicorns to be in right now because that LeBlanc is so far behind. He wanted to go for an early Morellonomicon, and because of the amount of pressure that Sencux was putting down and because of how overfed this nidalee is, you have to build some very early magic resistance. So he hasn't even completed an item yet. He's still between whether or not he wants to go for that early Morello or whether he wants to go for the Abyssal, which he can do, and Trashy just owns this jungle for his own.
Hop out, hop in, really no room to interrupt this. Trashy's still waiting with the spear. He's just going to try to poke out Exileh instead. But Splyce continue to go aggressive. Hylissang locked up, but MIkyx could be in trouble. Veritas isn't going to land the stair. MIkyx, can you even hit him? We're going to have to find out. Curtain call goes down. Someone has to give up their life here, but not today. Wunder not going to let the channel come through. Chachi goes in. Unicorns of Love get aggressive. 2 kills picked up. Gnar coming in, knocks Chachi into the wall and knocks him out of the fight. But Exileh moves forward, grabs the double kill, and the momentum swings once again.
2 teleports on Unicorns of Love means that they can once again make this cross-map play and quickly join the action down in the bottom half of the map to turn that fight in Unicorns' favor. They get themselves 3 kills, and they only lose Chachi as a result. So not only are they going to be able to take this tier 1 turret, but they're going to be able to get a bit more gold. The problem for them is there's still no answer to Trashy. Level 11 on this nidalee. He helps Sencux take that tier 1 turret in the mid, and even though Unicorns are finding small ways back into the game, Splyce still have a firm grip on the lead right now.
Absolutely, 3K at their favor, only 14 minutes into the game. And we really have to see what they're going to do with this next, because we keep referring to the nidalee as overfed. I think in Trashy's eyes, there's no such thing as over. He is so far ahead at this stage. He is so happy to have this advantage. He can own the jungle as we've talked about. And I really just wonder how Move can come back from this.
Full tank. When behind, just build tank stats, because tank is such a valuable thing to have, and as long as you're still doing your job of being a frontline, then Move can still offer that impact. And vision control has to be the big thing for Move as well, because you can see once again deciding to go for the side stone. It means that you can just have a little bit of a better grasp as to where Trashy's trying to make these plays. But let's just have a recap as to what happened down the bottom lane, because it was MIkyx that actually initiated this fight. Really good disengage coming out from Hylissang's ultimate to prevent it. And then Veritas preemptively throwing out that ultimate to try and get the kill down. Underneath the teleport was a little bit risky, which resulted in him forcing the flash, but it bought enough time because then the double teleport comes out from Unicorns of Love. They pick up the 2 kills, followed up by the kill down onto Wunder, and that enables them to get back into this game a little bit more.
You can see the action isn't stopping on the picture-in-picture as we get back to real time in the game. Hylissang taking a lot of damage here. Trashy pushing in for more. The nidalee does so much. In comes the Gnar shortly, but the snare making sure they don't have any follow-up. Wunder, one last boomerang. Sidesteps the bubble. Can he make it in? House goes out. Clock tower not going to be enough. Backing off, but Splyce continually making these aggressive plays across the map. And despite Unicorns of Love getting something back, we have to remember that Splyce took that tower in the mid lane and are just continuing to maintain this gold advantage.
Right now, Unicorns, they know that there's no turret in the bottom lane for them to take, so they've rotated both Veritas and Hylissang towards that tier 1 turret in the top half of the map to try and get themselves a little bit more global gold. Unfortunately for them, they weren't able to capitalize, and now Trashy, he doesn't know they're in there.
Oh, underfed? Well, now he's just dead. Whoops, Prime. But Unicorns of Love happy to pick that one up. Sencux now pushing out in mid lane. And I mean, just an overstep there, and Unicorns of Love happy to have that shutdown kill, starting to swing the gold back at least a little bit, and it's going to be, I mean, at least 30 seconds of a reprieve here where they can just farm up. This
is very important for Exileh on that LeBlanc, because you need these kills, you need this gold, and that 2-item spike of the Morello into the Abyssal is just so impactful. Allows you to roam around the map, make these picks, and you can start to go in a side lane once you've got that 2 big spikes. So the fact that Exileh is not only getting these shutdown kills, but also just getting kills in general is really good for the Unicorns as well.
Jhin. Terrifying Viho as always, but unfortunately for Veritas on that top side, not too much of a threat just yet. But Exileh, making things happen, has the red buff. He's just going to hop his way out to safety. Doesn't want to deal with double sand shoulders there. Splyce continuing to use this caitlyn pick to push aggressively, but Chachi running forward. He wants to make something happen. Trashy on the way to the bottom lane.
I mean, this is something that we haven't discussed much of, but for Splyce, they have so much kite in their composition. Azir, really good at keeping your arm's length. The nidalee, also really good at running away, constantly throwing those spears at you as you're trying to chase her. The fact that Trashy also has the Rylai's is just going to make that even more impactful. You've also got a Caitlyn paired up with the Karma, who are also really good at running away, and then Gnar, one of the kings of kiting. So Splyce, they actually have a really good composition that will make it difficult for Unicorns of Love to actually force these 5v5 fights if they choose to try and go for them.
Of course, using the Tremor Sense now to spot this out. We're going to have to see if they opt for these 5v5 fights, if they can make that happen, because as you said, I mean, it's pretty terrifying to try to chase down a team with so much mobility. Can't afford to get baited into those exchanges.
Oh, look at Trashy go with that Cloud Drake. He's basically like a rocket. He needs to slow down so that our observers can keep up with him. As the Rift Herald's now being taken in exchange by the Unicorns of Love after the Cloud Drake does go down in favor of Splyce.
Happy to have that advantage. Next Drake's going to be a Cloud as well, so maybe they're going to double down here. But Rift Herald will go over the Unicorns of Love. This is going to be excellent for Chachi to have. We'll balance out that lane matchup at least a little bit here. Exileh moving over to blue. Lightning speed Trashy. He's going to make his way back to the base.
He's like a blur. So fast. I mean, it's the human eye can't keep up.
We tested this. You get back to lane 1 second faster.
Yes, from base. I mean, on a nidalee, it might even be a little bit better because you have that count.
Technically, it would be you get a little bit less value out of it. So
that's also true. Never mind. But in any case, Cloud Drake, it's one less dragon off the board. Think of the value that you get if the Elder Drake is taken out of it. And that's really
we talked about the 45 damage buff from Cloud Drake is overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah, crazy. Anyway.
All right, Cloud Drake aside, Trashy continues to get aggressive here. Has to be careful. did not respect the potential for LeBlanc last time around, and it cost him dearly. Hesitating a bit more to get aggressive, but Mikyx, no such hesitations. Hylissang trying to make a catch with the bubble, but Splyce just going in for vision and immediately backing out. They've got no reason to push for anything else yet.
Keeping my eye on Trashy right now, who pretty overextending the top half of the map, but because they have full vision of what Splyce is up to, he can play this aggressively, and he is trying to take advantage of that mini Gnar form where he will have the slight advantage on Trundle, but look in the mid lane.
Offing his way out. Exileh tried to get aggressive here, but Trashy says no. Making sure his mid laner stays safe. Spear gonna hit. That's a fake one. Trashy not taking the bait. Just gonna help his mid laner get blue buff. And there's so many exchanges here where I feel like someone should go down, but neither team wants to get over aggressive.
It's because of how much disengage is available on Splyce, but without Trashy really being involved in these fights, neither team really has that much damage to try and secure them. So at the moment, we're at a bit of a standstill. Unicorns of Love have done a good job to, slowly work their way back into things. 6 and 7 the scoreline. Remember that it was 2 and 5 not that long ago. And the gold lead looks so big for Splyce. And now, after Unicorns, not only picking up that tier 1 in the top lane, but also slowly closing the gold gaps in terms of the farm department.
And all of that advantage right now is present in Trashy, and it's really on him to make these plays happen because, I mean, there's small leads in other lanes for Unicorns of Love. LeBlanc slightly ahead, the tower now dropping. It's only a 1K difference between these two lineups. Really not where Splyce wanted to be. They need to take control of this game once again. Wunder doing his best as he pushes in on top sides. They're continuing to clear out vision, but they just haven't been able to make a play.
It always impresses me when a LeBlanc has a farm advantage in the mid lane because that's not typically what you see, especially when her abilities aren't really used for wave clear against an azir who's very good at wave clear. So props to Exileh for doing such a great job on that LeBlanc. 197 farm in 21 minutes is very impressive. But in any case, I'm thinking now they're at the 20-minute mark. Now that a lot of champions are completing that 2-item spike, this is where things should really start to kick off for Unicorns of Love. The problem for them is something that we've already mentioned, the fact that they don't really have any real way to start a fight. They do have the double teleport though, so the potential for a flank, the potential for a pick is actually very high on Unicorns. And the fact that Kobbe right now overextended in the lane, if Unicorns can just get slightly deeper vision, then plays like this are how Unicorns of Love can get a firm grip on control of this game.
And you talk about not having a whole lot of engage options inside of Unicorns of Love, but Splyce are in a similar boat. They've got the single TP to back them up, maybe an azir sec, those fancy footwork kind of plays, but there's not really a whole lot of hard CC on this team. You've got caitlyn traps potentially, but on the opposite side, LeBlanc, rek'sai. Maybe we're just going to have a passive game because neither team really has a good way to get on top of it.
I don't think these two teams know how to play passive Seeker. From what we've seen so far, I mean, they just constantly look for fights, and some of the fights are a little bit messy. Some of them happen randomly across the map, but one thing I do want to praise Splyce for is they're making fewer mistakes, giving fewer opportunities for UOL to take control of this game, and that's largely due to Trashy, who's having a much better performance on this nidalee in Game 2.
Yeah, maintaining a massive farm lead, 40 CS difference in the jungle. Keeping about 2K gold ahead of the opposition, almost 3K this stage of the game. Unicorns of Love pushing in though, continue to get this farm, and they do have advantages elsewhere. The 10 CS lead in the mid lane for LeBlanc. Almost 20 on the top side for Trashy overall, but Splyce are gearing up to start sieging down these towers. Unicorns of Love are gonna have to make some moves to stop this from happening. Trashy, insult to injury here from Trashy as he steals away that wolf.
Jhin now has completed the Duskblade of Drakthar, a name that will forever confuse me. I mean, why is it a Duskblade? Does it only work at dusk? When even is dusk? Many questions resulting in the naming of that item. And it still has a lot of impact.
I wish I could tell you when dusk is. I feel like I should know that.
Exactly.
Who is Drakthar?
And why does he have a blade that only works at dusk?
And why does it hurt low health people so much? Curtain call coming in though. The action is starting as Trashy. Is he gonna get shot?
Oh, that's so unfortunate.
No.
It's Trashy.
Just outside of range.
I mean, that was literally on point from Veritas as well. I mean, that was gonna hit him. Oh, that's so upsetting for Veritas. I can feel his pain.
Rough spot to be in. I mean, not losing anything in the end, however. Trashy just gonna back up, heal up, clear out a bit more jungle. Wondering if Splyce are going to try again with this siege. They've still got Wunder pushing on the bottom side, but Unicorns of Love looking a little bit more confident as they start to push in the mid lane here.
Well, I feel like right now, both teams are actually very confident in the plays that they try to make. Not afraid seems to be their mantra right now, as they constantly look for opportunities to just get that slight lead, which can then snowball this game into a victory. And I do feel like this will be a slightly longer game. To be fair to Unicorns, they've actually had much quicker game times. I believe both their games against H2K were about 30 to 33 minutes, and in game 1 they won this game in 33 minutes. But given the way things are pacing out right now and that neither team really has a massive uncontrollable lead, it does feel like that we're going to be waiting more towards that 35 to 40 minute mark where someone is going to be slightly out of position, someone's going to get that pick, and that's suddenly going to swing the game into one team's favor.
Trashy taking down the Cloud Drake on his quest to become a human bullet. Our little own LCS Flash here. Exileh though looking to make some picks happen. Jumps in. Oh my word! Oh, pop goes Mikyx. Instantly taken out. Unicorns of Love now have advantage here in the mid lane. Maybe looking to get something else on the back of that pick.
Mikyx, he was just going for a walk with his AD carry. I mean, that should not be allowed. Oh my word. I mean, level 9 to level 15 makes a little bit more sense as to where that damage is coming from. But even through a locket, I mean, absolutely crazy.
So much damage coming in. Of course, Kobbe is going to pick up this red buff move, starting to get a lot more comfortable in the jungle, though. He has the Rift Herald buff for some reason. I failed to notice that for the longest time. It is not on Trashy, and may explain some of the struggles that Trashy was having earlier, but he's applying pressure, and Unicorns of Love are taking control on the top side.
And that is Exileh's 10th solo kill. Currently the leader of solo kills right now, and it really speaks to his playstyle of constantly trying to find these picks and being that solo QS mid laner that seems to be holding true right now.
Yeah, lives or dies on his own, as is so often the case for Exileh. Unicorns of Love taking a brief reprieve here. They've pushed out their waves. They're going to back out and buy their items. Exileh getting aggressive. Maybe look to make something happen. Flash goes in. Soldiers are following Exileh, but he cannot click the LeBlanc. Stealth coming in big. Mikyx wants to get something back. They're not going to be able to get it. Trashy taking poke as well, but Splyce, they see the opportunity with all these backs coming out. They're going to start sieging on the bottom side. Veritas clearing out the waves as much as he can. Blue ward taken down. Gearing up for these sieges. They're not going to get over aggressive though, and I think Splyce trying to just set up vision. They don't want to get picked anymore. They know Baron could drop if the wrong member does.
Infernal Drake next on the board, very likely to be a point of contention for both these teams. Definitely going to be monumental for Exileh if he wants to keep trying to find these solo plays. And as you rightly said, a lot of vision being set up around this Baron right now, because as we approach the 30-minute mark, this does become the big objective for both teams. To be fair, just looking at some of the scoreboards right now, Veritas 0-0-4 on this Jhin right now. And Veritas has been a player who, in all honesty, has been underperforming, especially relative to other AD carries here in LCS. Definitely somewhere near the bottom in terms of the vast majority of his statistics, but to be fair to him, his Jhin really been impressive in games 1 and 2. As Kobbe now on the back end of...
Has to be careful. Frozen Domain making Trashy essentially unstoppable as he gets aggressive there. Not afraid to look for the 2v1. No last whisper coming out from the Caitlyn yet. Trashy continues to control the jungle here. 50 CS lead still in his favor. Such patient play coming in from both sides. Oh.
So much poke. Trying to come down from Splyce. Not quite landing just yet, as both teams again just posturing around this Baron area as they constantly fight for control over vision. But if you just look at some of the vision around the bottom half of the map, it's actually in favor of Splyce. So they're ready for this dragon. Not going to be spawning in the immediate future. So that vision not as valuable as you would necessarily like it to be. And I mean, speaking of vision, just have a look at this. The advantage of 2 sight stones means that you are littering that Baron with blue wards right now. And Unicorns of Love, just even after a bit of a shaky start, just seems to be in a little bit more control of this game. And as I say that,
Hylissang is making his way out there. A quick flash, Ignite ticking down, but it's not going to be enough. Trade of blows here in the jungle. I mean, nothing. No one really gaining any advantage here. And I mean, at the end of the day, if this keeps going, Splyce have a gold lead at this stage. They have the 2 dragons, and I feel like they have the better late game team fight, but Kobbe Oh, that's a man who's learned from his mistakes. He's gonna hop out. Ooh, flash, gets the Q animation cancel. Looking to hunt down Exileh. He's dashing to safety. He's marked. Is he gonna drop? Fancy footwork back into the bush. Kill goes down for Trashy. Shut down onto Exileh. Overstaying his welcome on the top side. Splyce now looking to take control of the Baron pit.
Exileh, it was smart trying to get that pick, but the problem is he still went for it even after seeing Trashy in the vicinity, and the moment your escapes are gone, there is no way you're going to be able to get away from that rylized nidalee, and that was just a great collapse coming out from Splyce, punishing the over-aggression from Exileh, and now they're looking for the Baron.
Yeah, no hesitation here as they move in to take this, but move is on the way. Trundle as well. Are we going to see the fight? Baron set to fall. Tidal wave goes in. Who's going to get it? Move is in. Curtain call is in. They're going to get it. Splyce secure the Baron. Can they get anything else? Wunder, hungry for blood, hops forward, but Chachi, the front line that they need. Gnar goes in. Chachi back into the team. No one getting locked down by the snare. Splyce backing off. They don't want this fight anymore. Kobbe trying to make it out to safety. Trash. Ooh, Trap blocking up the advancement. Splyce walking away. They get the Baron, and they do not lose anything for it.
So a lot of back and forth exchanging, but no kills go down. And Splyce cleanly take themselves the Baron. They're now going to have so much more gold, so much more control. And even though they are the ones forced back to base, it is not going to stay that way for very long.
Absolutely not. A 6K gold lead in their favor, maybe 3-3 towers. Infernal Drake is on the way, though. Splyce will be able to pick that one up pretty easily. Maybe look to start breaking down these tier 2s. Unicorns of Love. One small mistake from the mid laner, costing them so much in the end.
So this is where, for Splyce, vision becomes very important, because Exileh is constantly going to be looking for those picks. He's going to be sitting in these little dark patches that you're completely unaware of, and the moment you try to overstep, or the moment you try to go for that turret, he is going to come out of the shadows, get all that damage down, and he's going to force you back. So if you aren't in a position where you can preemptively react to the pick potential that Exileh has, then you're never going to be able to siege down onto these tier 2s, and it's constantly going to be a back and forth that we've seen for the last 10 minutes of the game.
Splyce moving into the bottom lane. Do not want another back and forth. They're just going to try to take down this tower. They've got the vision now to keep the team safe. Sun Disc drops in the middle lane. Splyce now looking to pick up their first inhibitor. Traps go down, trying to clear out the minion waves. Cannon creep here if they can just keep it alive. Sencux ditching out the damage. In goes the engage. Curtain call coming through. Rocket burned out in exchange. Defiance as well. Splyce really taking their time here. Patience on the siege. They have the tools and they're putting them to use.
But look at this. They're not utilizing the other lanes right now. There's a top lane pushing against them. Trashy, he gets locked up, but there's no follow-up, and UOL, they're doing a good job of defending right now.
But a lot of damage is going down every time Caitlyn gets to go in, but Exileh may have overstepped. Move locked up for a brief second. Are they going to be able to burn through the rek'sai? MIkyx comes out, and the siege continues. Splyce, they may be losing out on the top side, but they just want to burn through this inhibitor line.
But it's if they stay for too long, the sustain coming out from the Unicorns of Love could prove to be Splyce's undoing, and now they're going to force to disengage. So Splyce, even after what looked like a great setup, are now on the retreat.
Moving in to try to make something happen. Snare not going to land. Oh no! Sencux on the backside. He's making things happen. Splyce suddenly out of nowhere just picking up kills. What a beautiful flank. We didn't even see him there on the backside. 3 kills picked up instantaneously. Mickey looking to lock down Exileh. He's running for his life. Oh, Wunder running forward. They're not going to get it, but they are going to be able to break through the inhibitor line. Exileh just trying to buy time, but it will not be enough. Splyce with a beautiful flank.
They have a Baron empowered minion wave. Those are 30-second death timers in Splyce. They could potentially look to try and end the game.
Splyce moving in. Exileh trying to make things happen. He's hopping in, he's hopping out, and he's gonna burn down. Sencux in the mid lane. Ace comes out. Splyce burning through this as quickly as they can. Hylissang, is he enough? They don't have enough time. Splyce, oh, in an instant have turned this game around, and they're going to even up the set at 1-1.
So Splyce, after finding that one